was at St James's Park. It was a 50-50 and I emptied him. Welbeck didn't speak to me for a few days.
Really?
Yeah, because no, it was a bad tackle.
I genuinely think any top team in the world would buy Bukayo Saka, and I think he could play. But I think at some point he might need to move on.
It's actually a picture of me and him where we're head to head. I think we got the club fine. There was a 20-man brawl. I called him out. He actually DM'd me saying, let's have it then. Jamie Vardy. Cheers for your shirt, by the way.
Thanks for the shirt.
In a bit, man.
No worries, catch you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So we are back. Myself, Premier League champion Danny Simpson, Lianne Sanderson. We are back with Two Touch on DAZN. Danny, I mean, what a week it's been. You've been celebrating. I've been celebrating. Yesterday I was at the Swiss Embassy. You FaceTimed me yesterday and I was buzzing. I got my hair done, those you can see. And I had my hair in like literally a bag, and you FaceTimed me with none other than Jamie Vardy. So thanks for that. Did you have a good night?
Yeah, very, very good night. Good few days. Typical Vardy party, so to speak. But no, just to witness, scoring 200 goals on his 500th game with all like my old teammates, and obviously spend some time with him after. It's pretty special. It's nearly 10 years ago since we won the league, but obviously to be there with his friends and his family, and obviously our friends, it was pretty special.
It was a surprise party, you said, like, because obviously he had the Guard of Honour at the game the other day, but like it was written in the stars 200 goals, 500 games, like that's mad. What was his reaction when he saw you lot?
So this is the thing. So on the pitch, I was saying to him, like, you're not emotional at all. Like, this is going to be your last game for Leicester. But he was more emotional with the surprise party when he walked through, because he thought obviously we'd all left, and he just thought he was going for dinner with his missus and kids. And obviously to see us all there, that was the first time I thought, oh, he's actually got a bit of emotion. But yeah, it was a pretty special time, and obviously we've got the shirt here that obviously if anyone we're going to give away.
Me.
Yeah, you're first.
I'm only joking.
No, yeah, he's given us a shirt for the show.
Oh, wicked. So yeah, today we're back. We'll debate again. We'll have a lot of topics to talk about: women's football, men's football, every single game we can think about. So yeah, let's go.
Let's go. So Lianne, this is round one, the opening whistle. And my question is, are the best coaches now more valuable than the best players?
This is an interesting one, Danny, because obviously we've been blessed over the years. Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, during those rivalries. Then obviously Pep Guardiola came along, Jurgen Klopp. But I think it's difficult because it's like, I think you have to have a mixture of players that buy into a system and also a top coach. But then I don't come from a place where it's like, people say, oh, Pep Guardiola, he's not a great coach because he's only ever managed great teams like Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Man City. But like, you still have to manage those players, don't you? Like, they're not necessarily, because when people say egos, I think that comes with like this weird connotation of like, oh my God, ego. But I think ego's okay. We all have to have a little bit of ego to get to where we've got to. But I think you still have to manage those dynamics. What do you think?
No, I think you're right in saying you have to have a bit of both. Even obviously we've just spoke about Jamie Vardy there, and it's a weird one because sometimes the best managers, they do end up with the best players because they want to play for the best managers. Do you know what I mean? With all of us, and you're the same. I've played for managers where I thought you're not. I don't feel like you're a leader. I need my manager to feel like he's above us. And I feel like with Jamie Vardy, for example, I feel like he's been the best player for Leicester for however many years, but I wouldn't have said that he's played for the best coaches in the last few years. I think they've probably needed him, but I think it depends on the club, depends on the team. I think, like you said there, like with Sir Alex Ferguson, Pep, these are the best coaches. But then you look at what some of these coaches are doing now with Eddie Howe and Areola, and these are top coaches with maybe not always the best players. So yeah, it's a tough one.
Well, you talk about Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, he always said there was no player that was bigger than the club. And you're right. It's like you're saying you always needed a manager that kind of was bigger than you, but led the team in a way. Like, I was a type of player that I never needed to have too much information. I always did my diligence and my homework and my prep and that. But like, some managers and coaches, I think in this modern day football, there's over-coaching and there's all these words that people use, like pundits use the same words, and it's like they're reading from a coaching manual. And I'm thinking sometimes, like, the best coaches I've ever played for, we've done our prep in the middle of the week, but they're not screaming on the sideline. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because I feel like with football now, you can just see, can't you, the work that they've been doing on the training ground. But sometimes I want you to do your own thing. I want like the best players. I want him to get in the final third and not turn back and pass sideways. I want to see these players take it their own initiative and do something magic. And that's down to them, not down to the coach.
But don't you think sometimes it's coached out of people, though? I know we're going to talk about Jack Grealish later, but I feel like at Villa, he was more flexible and free. Then he's gone to City, and every time he gets the ball, he doesn't look confident, and he comes inside. And then you look at Lamine Yamal, you know, this type of player, and we spoke about it last week. Like, there's kids that are going to look at Lamine Yamal and think, I want to be him. But whereas there's not really those types of players anymore, where they must exist, but like I feel like it's being coached out of younger players to just get it, give it. You know, the fullbacks now, we spoke about it before, like are like attackers.
But then I also feel like it's not even from first team managers. I feel like it's coming from
grassroots.
No, it is though, isn't it? Academy. 13, 14-year-old team.
5-year-olds.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Wanting to pass the ball. And like you said, Lamine Yamal, he's just been through into the team because he's that good. I think the other day, the goal he scored, he just cuts inside and puts in the top corner. He doesn't need coaching. Just let him play. Give him that freedom. I think we need to give some players a bit of freedom. And like you said, I don't think that they're getting enough freedom because they're all being coached in a certain way to keep the ball and have possession. And I want to see them attacking and scoring goals like that.
For me, in summary, Danny, I'm not sure if I agree necessarily that managers are more valuable than the players. I think you just have to have a combination. From my experience of playing and from what I see now, I think you have to have people that buy into the system, but also can do the fundamental basics of football. Yeah,
it's a tough one still. We're debating it now because player power. Players get managers sacked. Even the top managers, you know, Mourinho, we've seen it also. In summary, yes, for me, they are more valuable than managers. But I understand now where players can be more valuable because they can get the manager to sack.
I wanted to ask you, Danny, right? Because, you know, there's times where managers have been sacked and then all of a sudden you get that new coach bounce, right? But is it true, right, that players do pick and choose when they play? Because I don't like the idea that, you know, when Aubameyang's contract was up for grabs and Ozil's contract, they all of a sudden had worldies of performances, get the new contract and then just sit down and chill. Like, is this, I'm not asking you if you've been in a dressing room where this has happened, but I'm asking, in men's football, is this a real thing? Because a lot of fans think that's the reality.
It's a weird one because...
Come on.
It's a weird one because, no, I'm just going to talk about one experience I had. Now, I weren't down tooling, but I remember when Claude Puel was the manager and it just wasn't working, right, for all the players, his man management style, his tactics, everything, and he got the sack. And then I think we won the next 6 games.
When you say down tools, what does that mean? What does that look like?
No, you know what it is? I don't agree with that. I just think we weren't happy. When you're not around the training ground, you're not happy. You're travelling. Like, sometimes it's not about he's not running enough. It's more just like it's just not a good vibe. And then once sometimes he gets removed, it's like all of a sudden the dressing room's lifted and.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because I'm just saying that's the one experience I had where. When he left, it was all like, and then we started winning.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a strange one.
So now, Danny, we've just debated about, you know, players, coaches, systems, and style. We're now entering into the mix zone. Are rivalries in football losing its way? Are they dying?
Lianne, unfortunately, I would say yeah. I think, you know what? For me, growing up. Like Man City, Liverpool, even as a 13, 14-year-old, Sir Alex Ferguson used to pass the message down to all the groups that you cannot lose them games. So it got put into us from an early age that you can't lose them games, and it means a lot. And now when I see, even for me, at the end of games in derbies, you know, United, City doing the drew 0-0, and listen, some of my friends were playing in that game. And they're hugging each other and swapping shirts in the game. So I don't know what do you think?
Don't get me started. Like I it really kills me when I see players even before games. Like, do you remember there was that when Phil Neville played against Gary Neville in the tunnel and Everton United? They're brothers. They love each other. They didn't even look at each other. Do you remember that? To switch sides.
I do remember, yeah.
And literally, like, that is what it's about. Peter Schmeichel when he went to City, Gary Neville. Do you remember?
Yeah.
He didn't even look at him. Remember, Peter Schmeichel went to hold out his hand and he just was like,
not having that. Yeah.
So there's extremes, but I was a bit like that. Like, listen, a few days after the game, like, if I've said to you this before, when I lost a game, I was a nightmare. Not a bad loser, but I just hated losing. You know, I'd always shake hands.
I like that though.
But when my team, I hate that whole hugging before games and I don't speak to none of my mates before games if I was playing against them. I don't. Afterwards, we might have a meal or a night out if I won.
Yeah,
if I didn't, those plans were out the window.
If you didn't win, you wouldn't
go
out.
No, I weren't going nowhere, honestly. So I don't like all that. I think players don't really seem to swap shirts anymore at halftime. Do you remember? We don't really see that as much, do we?
Yeah, but
as much as it did about a few years ago.
Yeah.
When they start covering their mouths all the time, I'm thinking, what exactly are you lot talking
what
about? Because it
can't be
that much. You know what I mean? Like, I know people can lip read and that type of thing, but I can't bear it.
But then now I do feel like I think social media's played a part in that. What I'm trying to say is now I feel like lads are more friendly with each other because of social media. So they follow each other, they see each other. Whereas back then, I didn't see rivalry. I didn't see other teams. I didn't see the lads unless it was just on a night out. Whereas now I think they interact a lot more. So maybe is that played a part in why they obviously are now a bit more friendly than what it was when we was playing?
Maybe, but even so, like when I see players post after games that generic, unlucky today lads, great to be out there. I don't like any of those posts from Man United players because I think, no, I don't want to hear it. You've copied and pasted it. It just sounds disingenuous. But yeah, I don't know. Going back to the rivalry though, like for me growing up, Arsenal, Man United, like maybe it's where you're born as well. Because you were saying about City and Liverpool, right? But like City was in like the old Division 1 and 2, weren't they back in the day? But because maybe you're in Manchester, you'd feel that. Whereas me being from Southeast London, being a United fan, imagine every time, you sound like you're from Manchester and all that, you're a glory hunter and all that type of stuff. But like, my dad's a Gooner. So like, that's the biggest thing we disagree on is our teams. So you couldn't get bigger than me and my dad could not speak to each other for days, I swear. And he's like one of my best mates and I can't. Like, it is the one thing we disagree on and it's probably the most important because he's your team.
Yeah, well, I like that you said that because my dad's a City fan. And the other day, obviously, they lose the cup final. I'm straight on my phone, giving him a load. Because obviously, as a United fan, we've had to take a lot of stick for a while. But I think as well, just from that, I think just rivalries, even like we said, with families and friends. But then I think with players, sometimes I don't think maybe you see that as much as maybe we do.
You don't see Keane Vieira. You don't see those things, do you,
no,
anymore?
You don't anymore.
But the battle's all over the pitch. Remember when Gary Neville was going up against Jose Antonio Reyes? He was unbelievable. God rest his soul now because he passed away. But like, he was unbelievable. And Gary Neville just couldn't get near him. And the battles before, I remember looking at the fixture list beginning of the season, and I used to look at that fixture. Arsenal Man United was the one game Highbury. I was in the away end at Old Trafford as well because I used to obviously get tickets from Arsenal. It's the hardest thing to do. The day we won 6-1 though, my dad wanted to leave at halftime. I was like, we're not going nowhere. But don't you think like maybe, I've said this before, derbies, Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Tottenham, those games being midweek for me absolutely kill the atmosphere. Why are we playing on a Wednesday night, Man United, Man City? Like, I don't know, it just doesn't have the same feeling.
No, I agree, but just, you know what, someone just popped into my head. Is it now always, because you obviously mentioned Keane Vieira, Gary Neville and Reyes, is it because now we can't tackle as much? What I'm trying to say is, see, before I got told you get one or two, I'll kick my left winger. Whereas now you can't do anything now because you get a yellow card, you get a red card now. So there's no excitement in terms of, listen, my teammate gets smashed, so to speak. You want to smash them back. And I feel like we're not allowed to do that anymore because of the way the game's gone.
Vieira, Vinnie Jones, Dennis Wise, they wouldn't spend 2 seconds on the pitch, would they? No. They'd literally be sent off every week.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they'd be banned all the time. So is that a football problem? Is that football problem? So it's not really the players anymore? Is it because
it's not the players' fault though? Because the rules have changed, haven't they? Like it's almost become a non-contact sport. Because anytime you go near, if you went near us forward in modern day, you couldn't touch them because they go down as a penalty.
Yeah, I think now. I used to love the fact that I could get one on my left wing and give him a kick, but it was more to see what his reaction would be and be like, are you up for it today? Whereas now you can't even do that. No. So I don't know.
I think most wingers would expect that as well.
Of course you would.
They would.
Yeah,
you're not saying anything out of line. That's the reality. Like, you let them know you're there. I was terrible at tackling, so I didn't go near that. My game that I can vividly remember was 99 when Ryan Giggs scored that goal. But when Dennis Bergkamp got the penalty, I actually broke my little toe because I kicked the door frame and threw all my shirts out the window. Yeah. And I still played on a broken toe because I couldn't tell my manager, how'd you break your toe? I kicked the door frame. And honestly, Manchester United just seemed to bring that out of me. Like, I just love them so much that, like, I thought we were going to lose that game. And obviously, Peter Schmeichel saves it. But those types of rivalries are what I grew up with.
Yeah, so one for me was playing. Now, obviously, I was at Newcastle, Sunderland. Like them games for me, like they're absolutely crazy, and I'd love to see them again. But I remember Danny Welbeck, he was playing for Sunderland, and now he's my mate. And I remember it was at St James's Park. It was a 50-50, and we're running at each other. And I'm thinking, I've got a decision to make here, and I emptied him. I had to
Was
because
it a foul?
Yeah, it's a foul, like yellow card. And I had to because the crowd, honestly, they knew we were friends, but because it means so much to them up there as football fans. Obviously, they're crazy, aren't we, as we know. But if I would have run up to that situation and sort of pulled out, I don't think they'd have let me down. I'd have let them down, sorry, the fans. And I think Welbeck didn't speak to me for a few days.
Really?
Yeah, because it was a bad tackle.
Did you like try and after the game like shake his hand and that? Was he just not having it?
I think maybe I texted him or something and
Pied.
Yeah, you weren't happy because no, it was a bad tackle though. When I look back now, at the time I was thinking, nah, that was pretty fair. But now when I look back, I think it's a little bit naughty that.
So to summarise that like whole situation, I think we will say that the rivalries do seem like they're pretty dead in football, don't they? I think we don't want them to be.
No.
We're hoping at some point it can come back. Maybe based upon the fact that City haven't won another title because people kept saying it's getting, boring, the same team winning. I don't come from that place being a Man United fan because I didn't feel like it was boring when we were winning.
Yeah, no, listen, we want that back. We want the rivalry back. Can that be because football changes and we can allow the tackles and a bit more stuff? But no, I think we need that rivalry back.
So, Danny, we are back again. Red card, our favourite round. Red card if we disagree. Go to VAR if we're kind of in the middle. And I'm tapping in if it's a shoe-in.
Neymar wasted his prime chasing stardom over football.
You're on the fence there.
I am, because I love Neymar. And I always have loved him. And I think I spent a lot of time with his family in Qatar at the World Cup. And I know he's sung quite well in his family. And I think what people don't realise, what comes with Neymar, is like he is literally the main person. Like he's got like his whole family there with him. He's got like, his his husband's there with them. Like everybody's there. Yeah. The kids are there. And it's like this massive responsibility he has. And he's a really nice guy. And they're a lovely family. And I really like them. They're good people. But I think with Neymar, when he was at Barcelona, he's one of the best players in the world, right? And I think because he looks different and he likes to have his hair different, I can relate to that because then people think you're not disciplined and focused. I mean, he's had a number of injuries, hasn't he? And I'd like to think that, like, people often think, it's because he doesn't look after himself. But, there's loads of players that get injured. It doesn't always amount to that. And I don't think he wasted his talent. I mean, if you're paying me 100 million to go to Saudi, I'm going. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you ask anybody, they would. So, I don't know. Do I think he reached his peak? I don't. But I don't think that's because he was chasing stardom.
Yeah, but in his prime, and I don't think at PSG that was his prime. I think it was at Barcelona and the numbers he was doing. Him, Suarez and Messi. I think it's because he went to PSG and it didn't work out. But
then it didn't work out for Mbappe or Messi either. Like they were poor, all of them. So it's not just on Neymar, is it?
Bukayo Saka would start for any team in the world, including Real Madrid.
Ooh, I love how I tap like so hard because I feel so passionate. Go on.
Any team in the world starts.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm just going off, not putting him anywhere. I'm just thinking right wing right now.
Okay.
And I don't think right now he gets ahead of Lamine Yamal.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I know, as if I'm not saying
that's like you've
got him like
right wing, or got the bullseye straight off.
Are we saying right wing or are we saying anywhere on the pitch?
Find him a place. I think he does. Yeah. I think Bukayo Saka, I think Arsenal, for him, I love him, but I think at some point he might need to move on in order to win things and to be successful. Yeah, I mean, he could stay at Arsenal his whole career. He could actually be that player, though, to be fair, that does what like Gary Neville, Carragher did and all that. But is he going to win things at Arsenal? I think he'd get him Real Madrid. I think he'd get him Borussia Dortmund. I think he gets him Bayern Munich. I genuinely think any top team in the world would buy Bukayo Saka, and I think he could play. I think he's that good. He's consistent, and I love him. I think everything about him.
I love him, yeah.
But is he going to maximise his potential at Arsenal?
But maybe he looks at someone like Trent now when he moves, and if Trent starts winning stuff and thinks that's what I want, maybe that's a catalyst for other players thinking that's what I want, because he's Tristan Trent's won everything. But I'm saying he's going to take another challenge, and maybe that's what other players will look at. I think I need to do the same.
Phil Foden is the most technically gifted English player ever.
I was going to go to VAR.
I was going to do that.
But I think when you think about all the historic players, I mean, with Phil Foden, I said it before on the show, like he looks like he's just playing in the street with his friends. You know, there was that one clip where he's kicking the ball against the wall. It's just effortless. The touch, the balance is unbelievable. But I think you look at players like Paul Gascoigne, Joe Cole. Unbelievable. Joe Cole is a player, and he's a good mate of mine now, right? But what a player. Like, I feel like he never ever got that one goal he scored. Do you remember at the World Cup? Like, outside the box, chested it, bang. Like, the technical ability from Joe Cole was on a different level. And even like Rooney. Like, his ability was unbelievable.
I think I heard Makaleli talk about Joe Cole the other day. I don't know if you heard.
No.
And I was surprised because of all the players that Makaleli's played with. He said Joe Cole.
See, I'd like to think I know my stuff a little bit.
Yeah. You're on the money with that.
No, it's true though, isn't it? Like, don't you think people forget about Joe Cole? Like, the ability. When he was at West Ham in the youth team, I remember he scored. Do you remember that Rabona he did? And he's like backheading it over. And like, I think Joe Cole has to.
Joe Cole's up there, you know.
If you're looking at them. But Phil Foden, no doubt, his technical ability. But I think, and we don't want to suffer with recentism where we just think about this season for Phil Foden, because last year he was unbelievable, but for England hasn't really done it.
Yeah.
Mo Salah deserves to be in the Premier League all-time 11.
Yeah.
This is hard because I love Mo Salah, and I know I'm United, but I do love this guy. But you look at like players, I always think, okay, yeah, I'd have him in. If you asked me this 5 years ago, I'd be like, yeah. But then you start to think, well, who am I going to take out? Do you know what I mean? Because you're thinking Thierry Henry, I'm thinking Rooney, I'm thinking Alan Shearer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's difficult because I think Mo Salah is one of the greatest. I would put him in my squad, obviously, but I wouldn't know who I would take out.
See, my issue with this greatest and all-time 11 is because football's changed. Now, we grew up watching 4-4-2. Man United 4-4-2. Now it's 4-3-3, I think. So what I'm saying is positionally, like Beckham, all these players, the positions have changed. So where do you put him in? Obviously, for me, he's one of the greatest. But I think when it comes down to an 11, I just think because of systems and formations of football's changed, I don't know how you try and fit everyone in because the positions have changed.
And you look at players like Harry Kane as well. Like, do you know what I mean? It's difficult because, like I said, Mo Salah is one of the greatest to ever play in the Premier League. Aguero, do you know what I mean? Like, it goes back, like.
That's it. Obviously, you say them strikers, I think, do you know what? I play them two up front together. But now we play as one number 9. So, and now you're not going to put Shearer on the left or the right.
I might though, because I'm a bit like, I love 11. I'm like a nightmare because I always want attacking players on the pitch. And I don't really think about defending, but that's why I'm not a coach.
Okay, La Liga 2008 to 2015 was a higher level than the Premier League now.
Oh, that's my card. Why are you on the fence? Yeah.
Because I always think, I'm not that person that thinks the Premier League is the greatest in the world at all times. I think it used to be. I think what we're seeing this season, and credit to Liverpool, because I don't come from that place of like, oh, there wasn't a contender. They were brilliant and they deserved to win. But I think when you look at that La Liga season, like Barcelona, Real Madrid, I think those teams were on a different level, like Xavi, Busquets, Iniesta, you know, the likes of Raúl. Morientes was at Real Madrid then, like top players, Guti, like, you know what I mean? And I think about the Premier League now, and the games this season have been quite boring. I think everybody feels that way, don't they? Like, if you watch football this year, it's been quite boring.
No, it's very boring, I agree. I think week in, week out in the Premier League, you know, even back then when we got Stoke away and we talk about Stoke on a Tuesday night, I think all these different teams and different games. I think La Liga, yes, they're the best players, the best teams in terms of the two, but I think as a league, it's not the best league. I'll always stick with the Premier League's the best league in the world. Even now, we're seeing
all times though. Even like now, in comparison to then, I'm not talking about ever.
As a league, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd rather have watched El Clasico back then then with Cristiano and all those players, then watch, say, the Manchester Derby, it was poor. The top rivalry games have not been great. Look at what happened in the Champions League with Inter and Barca.
You might be changing my mind for once.
You can keep talking.
I like it because you're convincing me now.
Because I'm thinking, I'm just talking about not the league forever. I'm talking about this season. Football has been boring.
Yeah, no, you convinced me.
All right, you agree with me.
Well done.
Xavi and Iniesta would not have survived in the Premier League.
We agreed.
So we agree they would survive in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Go on, why do you think?
Listen, they're one of the best players I think we've ever seen or witnessed on a football pitch. I think now, especially with the way football is, how technical it is, I think maybe that question's come because maybe back then and talk about the Premier League, got pace and power, but now when we see what players can do tactically and technically, I think I'd love to have seen. Imagine them two.
I know.
We in a Premier League, just bossing games. I don't think anyone would get near them. But
No.
I think players would try and kick them. But I just generally don't think you get anywhere near them.
Well, look at what Rodri does at City. I look at that and I think that's kind of
On
what
his own.
Xavi, exactly. And Iniesta, imagine if he was around before Cristiano and Messi came along, because he was always that person that was getting third at the Ballon d'Or or FIFA's best, and it was like the timing, wasn't it? But I just feel like for
Modric
me,
ended up winning it.
and Modric, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But now they would have.
Exactly. And if you had a choice of Modric or Iniesta, I'm going Iniesta.
Yeah, Iniesta.
That's what I'm saying. He's one of the greatest ever players. So I genuinely believe they could have. But it seems like that contingency and that trio of the midfield and of Barcelona, they never really went. None of them players don't really come to the Premier League from Spain. They go that way.
Yeah.
But we just don't seem to have people coming, do we?
But it's mad though, because when you see all the interviews, they all say Scholesy was the best player they played against.
Xavi says that, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's what they say, don't they? I mean, is it Zidane?
Yeah, they all say that.
So that's an interesting one.
Grealish should leave Man City and become the star player for a smaller team.
I don't like the phrase smaller team, because I do think he can become the main man somewhere else, but doesn't mean it has to be at a smaller team. If that means, I know Man City's massive, but even if you went back to Aston Villa, I know they're a big club now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It depends where we start saying who's smaller and who's a big club.
Yeah, because I've said that before on the shows, and people get really upset.
You do, don't they?
Because they're like, it doesn't mean
understand.
you're a small club. It just means, like, and then they talk talking about the amount of trophies you've won. But like in this type of modern day football, like, you know how much I love Jack Grealish.
Yeah, you
like
do.
I could have a whole show on Jack, and I'm always backing him. I had to tone it down when he went to City because I love United.
Yeah.
But I think, like, I don't like what's happened to him at City. I don't like how he's been treated. And people can say, oh, there's a lot of comparisons between Jack and Rashford, right? In comparison of like Rashford's being treated this way, Jack's being treated that way. He's only scored one goal and all that type of stuff. But like, he didn't even bring him on in the FA Cup final. Like, and the players Doku weren't playing great. And to not bring him on, like, and also like, obviously in that treble winning season, Jack to me looks like a player that he's confidence has gone.
Within himself, yeah.
And he's also never really. Every time he's got the ball at City, he's always had to come inside. And it's clear to me that is what Pep Guardiola is asking of him. Because Jack Grealish at Aston Villa, every single time he got the ball was dangerous.
Exciting.
Dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Makes something happen. He never loses the ball. He either draws a foul, gets an assist, or gets a goal.
Where would you want to see him?
Man United. No, I'm only joking. A club that I think would suit Jack Grealish would be Tottenham. I saw someone saying yesterday Crystal Palace. And I was thinking, Crystal Palace. I love Palace. Local team, they've just won the FA Cup, but like, I think Jack still has a lot to offer.
Up next, it's the hat trick. Your questions, our answers. Let's go.
Have you ever faked an injury to avoid a game or a call-up?
No chance.
Never.
Nah. But I know players
People
that do.
you know.
Yeah.
But
they never admitted
I'm not
it.
going to name names,
No.
but I've seen it.
Give an example, because I'll give one example of what I have seen as well.
I've seen it where lads are having a tough time on the grass. Fans are giving them stick. Listen, I don't know for a fact, by the way. It's just my opinion, and I just can tell that they just couldn't play that weekend.
So from the Monday, you already
I could just see the body language, and sometimes you're training and a lad just walks in, and you think it weren't a tackle. Yes, I know you can get muscle injuries. I just think. There's something not right. There's something not right with you there.
Was there ever a time where you were like, I'm going to go and have a chat with him? Not to like say, oh, you're faking an injury, but like, was it like a mental thing? Did you feel like they were struggling?
Now when I look back, probably. But at the same time, you don't want to even maybe insinuate that and think, are you not okay? And that's why you're pretending to be injured, or you know what I mean? It's a difficult one, isn't it? We know. I don't know what you think.
Well, I mean, I always know whenever I've been on the team, I never had an injury till I was 28 years old, right? Which I won't age myself. No, I never had any injuries. I never even broke apart from breaking that little toe that I played through. To be fair, but like, I just never did anything. Never rolled an ankle. But there's always the same players that are on the medical bench. Every single time I come into training, they'd be getting taped this, taped that. And there was one particular player that always had a dodgy stomach the day of a game. They'd still play, but I feel like they would be. It was almost like
something's wrong.
Yeah, like so if they had a bad game,
then
it was like, oh yeah, and it was the same player every single time. And then like I thought to myself, because if I had ever felt bad, like there was one FA Cup final that I had, right? I had the worst allergic reaction. The pictures are out there, but don't look for it. My eyes were really swollen, right? It was a one game a year that was on TV when I was playing for Arsenal. Yeah. And I remember I came down, I woke up with my roommate because we roomed with people. Yeah. Anita Rasanti, and I said, mate, what do I look like? And she was just like, oh, you're all right. Went down to breakfast. Nah, the girls were bantering. They were laughing their heads off. You know when someone has an allergic reaction to like a hair dye or something?
I need to see this.
Mine was allergic to I'm allergic to shellfish, right?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't know at the time. Anyway, manager calls me into the meeting. He says, you
okay?
I said, yeah, I'm fine. I was feeling terrible. Stomach was feeling bad. Eyes, I mean, if you saw me, I looked like a shocker. I got loads of messages after this game, but like, I played for 60 minutes. I don't remember the game really because I felt well out of it. I actually scored in the game, I think, or got an assist in the FA Cup. Like,
wow, and you felt bad.
But I felt terrible. But I didn't feel like I was detrimental to my team by playing. Does that make sense? Because if I was terrible and I was feeling like I was going to let my team down, I had to say, do you know what? I can't. But there was nothing that was going to stop me from playing. Like, I was just nothing. And then afterwards, I had loads of messages saying, are you okay? What type of work you had done that's gone wrong?
I need to see this.
I'll show you. Don't look.
Who's the one player you clashed with every time you played them?
I mean, this one's a difficult one because I was never really confrontational on the pitch. Like, I don't know, I just let my football do the talking. Yeah. But I think my position was either in the 9 or the 10.
I would have said you was a little bit of a giver on the talk. Do you know what I mean? No?
No, I don't know. I just loved playing football. I weren't. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't getting involved in that. I think if I got into a battle with someone, that would be in my ear. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what they wanted to do. Julie Ertz, her husband Zach Ertz, played for the Eagles. She won the Olympics in the same year. Yeah. He won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Like, magnificent couple. Like, what an unbelievable couple. Like, talk about trophies and that. But like, yeah, she, for me, I found it hard to play against her because she would not stop the whole game.
Yapping it,
yeah, just talking. Or at the ref, or every time I was there, like, you know, one of those ones going to the back of your Achilles, but like the ref doesn't see it. Like, she's a top player, but like I always felt like she was the one that used to do my head in.
Did she put you off your game then?
A little bit.
Did you have good games against her? Or?
Yes and no, really. Yeah. When I had the ball, yeah. But I feel like, I feel like she did it to everybody though. But I don't know 100% because I never go into dressing room half time being like, why she keep talking? Because then you don't want your teammates to think that she's got in your head. But because it weren't normal in the women's game, you know. Yeah. Like in the men's game, I feel like you lot do mad stuff. Like my dad used to tell me, like when the blokes are helping each other up, like they pull their armpit hair. Like, do you know what I mean? And then and then the ref don't see that. Like there's loads of dark arts in the men's game, whereas we don't do that.
Yeah, I used to pinch.
Where?
I used to pinch your skin.
What, as you're pulling them up?
So, right, imagine I'm at right back. I go to close my left winger. Do you know if you pinch someone as they're about to take a touch, you can't help but put them off. You can't help. I know, that was my little secret. I swear to God.
I'm sure they all do it.
So, yeah, on that, though, it was James McLean when he was at Sunderland.
And you pinched him?
And there's actually a picture of me and him where we're head to head. I think we got the club fine. There was a 20-man brawl. No, I was pinching him all game, yeah, but but no, me and him we used to clash.
Really?
And even since then, when I started doing the boxing, he boxes. There's a lot of talk. Though he's a very good boxer, though. There's a lot of talk about me and him having a fight on Misfits.
What are you saying? You fancy yourself?
Yeah, he knows we've had a chat.
Okay.
But he is good though. I have seen him, but no, I called him out and he DM'd me. He actually DM'd me saying, let's have it then.
So, Danny, we're at the final whistle. This week, again, we're going to tackle some of the biggest stories in world football. Let's go. Chelsea women.
Yep.
Alexis Ohanian, Serena Williams has just invested 10%, 20 million they've invested in that football club.
Amazing,
like, Chelsea women have won the WSL six back-to-back times. They've just won the treble. They've got the record-breaking player with Naomi Girma, world record fee. They've got Kira Walsh. They've got everybody. Like, the investment, though, Danny, like, there's big owners, obviously. Tom Brady's at Birmingham. Then we've got Wrexham, like Ryan Reynolds. What do you make of all that investment coming from America to England?
I think it just shows, again, how great our leagues are and how exciting they are. And, like, sometimes I think we forget how many people watch, our games and, women and men across the world. Because sometimes we're here and, like, oh, yeah, it's English. We're so proud to be English. But I think, all these, when you see, like you said, Ryan Reynolds, like, coming over and putting their money into our country and our clubs, I think it just goes to show, like, it's so exciting. Yes, it's a great opportunity for them, but they're not just...
They don't need to do it, do they?
But they're not just putting the money in, they're actually getting involved. And I think that's what we love to see. Because, listen, we know about investors, there you go, they've got a load of money, they put the money in. But to see them on the ground at the stadiums involved as much as they are, I think it's only great for men and women.
It is, and I think, Michelle Kang, she owns Olympic Lyonnais, she owns the Washington Spirit, and she owns London City Lionesses, right? I've
seen that woman... She's allowed to do all this, by the way.
Well, there's no conflict of interest, which is interesting, right? But at the same time, like, she was at 3 different stadiums in the space of a week. I was in Chicago. She was there last week. She was at London City Lionesses last game. They've just been promoted. Visibility. Alexis Ohanian and Serena Williams were at the game with Olympia, their daughter. Amazing. And even Serena went in the dressing room of Man United women after the game. Fallon Tullis-Joyce, the goalkeeper, was in tears because she met her hero. She was obviously devastated they just lost the game. So there's probably a mixture of the two. But the fact that these people are investing and there's visibility, I think, and it's because they care. Obviously, people want to make money, but Alexis Ohanian and Serena Williams they don't need to make money. They're not trying to make money. And Alexis was actually one of the first investors in Angel City in LA. And he really cares about women's sports. And we need people like that. Like, I'm a big advocate for men in the women's game. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think like, I don't come from this place that you can't exist.
No,
I'd love you to do women's football.
You need to mix.
I'd love for you to do women's football. Like, a lot of the guys say to me, I'd want to get involved, and I'm like, I welcome it, because
get me on.
The same as like coaching, though, Danny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we used to be a bit of a stepping stone for the men. Like, they used to do their coaching badges, and we'd be like, oh, here we go again. Even in England, there'd be like a man coming in, and then they'd get a bigger job with the men's team. But I think those days are gone. So I welcome Alexis Ohanian and Serena Williams being involved and more investment. So, Danny, I want to talk about this legend over here. Like, I know we spoke about it at the top of the show, but, like, you couldn't write a better story, could you? Like, 500 appearances, 200 goals. He scores on his last home game. You're there. You do the Guard of Honour. Then you go out yesterday and have a surprise dinner and a party. Like, just speak about this guy. I mean, I know we speak about him a lot on this show, but we have to.
Listen, it's interesting because... all day yesterday, I was saying you've got to come Man United, because what he's done. I said I hate this age thing. He's 38. His goal the other day, his movement. I said to Vardy, I said, mate, your movement's a joke. I don't think he gets enough credit for his movement, his finishing. Like you said, 200 goals in 500 games is, honestly, it's for Leicester as well. This isn't like, there's nothing against Leicester. Obviously, I love Leicester. This isn't a top team. It's not Arsenal. It's not Man United. It's not Liverpool. It's for Leicester. I don't think we'll ever see a story like it again.
No, I mean, I think he gives everyone hope as well. Coming from Fleetwood Town, like that whole story of like the working class, you can be found. Like, I feel like he's kind of like written his own story. And I think it gives a lot of men like a lot of hope that just because you come into football late, look what can happen.
It's funny because we were all sat obviously yesterday together, and our old physio was with us, and he was telling us a story that when they signed him from Fleetwood, after a couple of months, he asked Leicester if he could go back because he just wasn't happy. Really? He just wanted to go back with his mates at Fleetwood, and obviously they didn't let him, and the rest is history, and thank God they didn't, because I think it was the start. I think the physio said, the start of that season, I think he scored on the first game, and then obviously went on to be who he was. But no, honestly, I think I'd love, listen, mate, right, so we're talking about Europa League final, and I said to Vards, if United or Tottenham right now could outbid each other for you to be on the bench for one of them, to come on for 20 minutes and get you a goal, they'd both want you. So I don't know. I think I'd like to see one last dance for him. You know, for me. And
I know people are going to go absolutely mental when they hear us say this, because they'll be thinking
not.
about aging that. But is he better than Rasmus Højlund? Absolutely.
Right, now
Xerxes out injured, but I would still take Jamie Vardy. I would take him all day long. I think you're 100% right. Bring him on for 20 minutes, because people are saying, oh, you know, his legs are gone and this, that and the other. But is he better than what Man United have right now? 150%. Is he long term? No.
No, and I think that's what it is. If people talk about, but it's Amarin's team, we're going to start rebuilding, etc., etc. But you can do that with him. Mm-hmm. He can just give you a year, and he can help Højlund.
And Man United do this historically, with Larson, Cavani.
Yeah.
Man United do this. Ibrahimovic, like they do it with like older players. So I mean, I'd welcome Jamie Vardy. And do you know what, Dan? I'm buzzing that you FaceTimed me with him yesterday, because I love him. Yeah. I was getting my hair done, and my hair was in like a bag. I'm thinking, what is Danny calling me for? And you're lucky that we're like family, because I was just like, and it was brilliant. Like to see you with all your old teammates reminded me of when I was at Arsenal.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like where you can't, those special moments you've shared together, winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup. Yeah. You can't. I don't know. It's a feeling, innit? Like you can't ever replicate that.
It's just that bond, innit? Like I said, the FaceTime, it was me, Wes, Morgan, Vardy, Shinji Okazaki. Honestly, I love that guy. So to come over as well, all the players obviously give the recognition for what Vards has done, but we've just obviously got a good bond between us here.
Something that will never ever be done again. Never. I don't think. Like what you guys did, I still think in my lifetime is the most incredible thing I've ever seen happen, apart from Man United winning the treble. But what you guys did was amazing.
And obviously yesterday he kindly gave us a signed shirt to give away to the fans. Obviously we'll update them on how to win that. But yeah, thank you, Vards, for giving Two Touch a shirt to give away. Vards here. Cheers, mate.
Hi.
Oh, you're on the golf course, aren't you? Did you make it? Cheers for your shirt, by the way.
Thanks for the shirt.
In a bit, man.
No, really. Catch you later.
Bye.